What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. So thank you guys again for joining us for another recap on today's trading. I do want to congratulate all the people that were able to make, there are 2.33% growth or net profit today for the $1,000 challenge. And again, that's the only profit that you truly need 3 days a week, 4 times a month, and 12 times a year to go from $1,000 to $20,000 with the compounding interest, growth plan that we have set up within TechBud Solutions. If you guys don't know what TechBud Solutions is, the link is provided for you down below, so you guys could actually join in. For those that are actually familiar with TechBud Solutions, go ahead and skip to the 1 minute mark, and then that's when actually we're going to be getting started. But pretty much I wanted to make sure that for those that want to get started into trading penny stocks and those that want to are experienced already and just want to expose themselves to more opportunity, I created a free networking group. We're sitting a little bit over 13,400 members worldwide, and the thing that we do best is we provide a welcoming community and share best practices and share mistakes in an effort to promote growth. So I upload daily videos like these, usually around 9 to 12:30, usually when I'm done trading, and then a helpful video at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time. And I do this in effort for you guys to learn from my whole thought process, as well as for you guys to be able to share, in a sense, your best practices and ideas in the comments. So I'm going to be talking about what I did good today, what I did bad, what my areas of improvement are today. And I want you guys to do the same if you guys can. Feel free to share it within the TechBud Solutions platform. And then once you guys are within the TechBud Solutions platform in Facebook, on the top pinned post will allow you access to all the other group chats. And then with that, you have access to being able to network with these 13,000 people. So I ended up trading 2 stocks today, and I called them out during the pre-market. I'm going to start sharing my screen. I called them out during the pre-market movers group chat. I know that one is currently closed, and the reason it's closed is actually because it's met its cap. So right now, I think we've hit that 2,000 member cap on the pre-market movers. I do have to expand that, and I've reached out to GroupMe. But the reason that I'm not too aggressive in expanding it is because we're actually waiting for the TechBud Solutions actual platform, which is we're going to be integrating our own group chat system, and then that's going to be a lot more advanced. So that's within the next couple of weeks. So I'll do a follow-up video for that. But pretty much I started the morning off saying good morning everyone, and then I started talking about some pre-market movers. So again, this was during or before the actual market opened, and I talked about DRYS with the support that I had at 72. I went down the list, and the ones that I was really looking at was AUY, just because of this bounce that I saw that it was creating the support at around 260. I also saw Snapchat broke its resistance, or was hitting its resistance, and actually ended up breaking it. I'm hitting highs of about like 23.20, I believe, throughout the day. HTGM looked like it hit a high. There's a lot of like pre-market movers, pre-market gappers that created a nice little pop. But just like Ford and a couple other ones, although they had the nice pop during pre-market movers, right as the market opened, they started bleeding down. And that's in a sense what I'd like to follow. And that's why we traded FNCX, or I did. And I called it out, and a good amount of traders were actually able to make, a large amount of profit. I know there was a stock very similar to the wording of NCX, and pretty much what it was actually, or that actual stock was, let me go ahead and make sure that, I call it out correctly. It's FNBC. So that was one that was very common within our group chat, and I saw people locking in like $300 to $400 within a couple of minutes. And people keep calling it out within the TechBud Solutions group chat. So I haven't actually actively looked at this one, just because I believe it is a true penny stock, but again, I'm not too familiar with it. But then the second one that I traded was mtbc. And then we caught it originally at 204, then we averaged down. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. Right now, I'm looking at the graph on mtbc. Right now, it's at 196. It looks like there's a pretty strong support at 195. Volume is kind of dying down. If you can see, volume is located right here. I'm using the Thinkorswim platform by TD Ameritrade. It is a free platform. I did make a video. It's under my helpful video playlist. If you guys want access to this for free, I believe you do have to have a social security number to create one of these accounts, but you don't actually have to fund it. So it's actually very useful. I use the RSI indicator, the momentum SMA, and then my level 2 to be able to see where people are buying and selling. It looked like it peaked out at, I should have originally sold. I was trading with my buddy Sergio, and we're up a little bit over 3% when it hit highs of about 207. But unfortunately, again, I got greedy. I should have at least set my stop loss at 205 to lock in the profits, but I haven't. And right now there's a support at 195. It did end up hitting lows of 186. And although I got in it before that, That's the whole point of this group, right? I originally got in at around 204. I averaged down. I bought in at 198 because that was an actual support that it was trading at this point. It broke below that and hit lows of 184. Although that was my loss and I was down, I wanted to make sure just because I was down doesn't mean that anyone else or no one else can benefit from it. So all I did was I simply called it out. I was like, look, based on the previous that I've seen within the past 5 days for mtbc, is when it drops down to around this 180 support, it tends to have a pretty solid bounce, and it usually hits a highs of about 230, and it's done that at least within the past 3 days. It did do that a couple days before, and it did hit lows of 150. So I had my stop loss at 1.79. To be right below the support, but overall I felt like the margin or the potential for profit was a lot greater for the the potential for loss. And realistically, I mean, I'm down a matter of 2 cents right now since I got in at an average of 198, or a little bit under 2 cents. So nothing crazy, right? I definitely think I can lock in at least above the 3% profit. But again, I need to stay realistic for this trade and make sure that for this $1,000 challenge that I stay on track and do justice, right, for what it is that I'm trying to promote, and that's staying consistent and staying realistic. So I apologize for not locking in the profits, and that was my mistake, because if I'm supposed to lead by example, then I should have locked it in. So again, I really do apologize. So next time that it goes anything above 205 or anything above the 2.33%, I'm just going to set my stop loss, and if it ends up coming down below it, I'll lock in the profits, and that'll be my day trade for the day within my Robinhood account. But I want to talk to you guys about what I traded with my Fidelity account. Wow, FNCX. I called this one out, and this one's, wow, it's actually bouncing very well. This was one that I called out during the pre-market movers group chat. And the reason I called it out was because of this support that it was building right here around this 80 cents. The reason I knew that it had a support at 80 cents was because of this support that it built, this bounce during pre-market hours, and this way that it played out yesterday, that it bounced. It hit lows of about like 177, 176.98, whatever it is that you want to call it, and then hit highs of about 85 cents. That's more than your 10% potential. So I knew that it had solid bounces, solid supports, and that's initially where I wanted to catch it. I ended up catching it not at the lowest point, not at 80. I think it hit lows of about maybe 79 something. I ended up getting in at 85. It's dot 805. So I've got in a little bit above the actual, what's it called, like bounce, and then I knew that there was going to be a resistance based on the previous resistance. So I actually identified the resistance during pre-market move, or during the pre-market hours, and that was around 87 cents. I saw when it was actually going and trending to hit 87 cents, it wasn't passing 86.86. So I set my stop loss at 85.99. I locked in my profits right there. I stop loss right away, right as I set it. And then it started bleeding back down, did pop up a little bit, held very well. Again, this is a very common trend that we're familiar with, and that's when it starts to plateau at the support and doesn't hold very well. It ends up breaking below that. So just got an alert, apologize for that. But yeah, once it plateaus kind of at a support, it most likely means, like, especially if the volume isn't really there, that people are just going to start cutting losses or locking in the profit, just because the opportunity cost isn't really there for them. And then it has a huge drop to lows of 75. And I called it out to a couple people within the group chat, just saying that I locked in my profits already for FNCX. I saw that as a potential good buy, and it's all about setting up a plan, right? Because it's I shut it out to my buddy Sergio, and it really came down to well, I wasn't very confident about the trade, and 100% I agree that how do you become confident with what it is that you're trading? Well, I think it really comes down to setting up a plan and making sense of it. And if it doesn't make sense to you, then in no way should you trade anything, right? If it doesn't make sense to you as an investor, then why are you going to invest in it? But pretty much what I saw was that, look, the support that it built was at 75. It was already bouncing. It was around like 76, 77. I was like, look, your margin for loss is about your margin for loss is about 2%, but your margin for profit, if it simply goes back up to where it was, is about 10%. So I felt like the opportunity cost or the potential for profit was a lot greater than the potential for loss. And that was really just it. I thought it was a decent plan. Ended up hitting highs of 81. I saw the resistance like that, or build pretty strong. There's a wall of sellers at around 81 cents, and it didn't let it pass over 81 cents. So just like when a stock bottoms out and plateaus at the support. It also happens with resistance. If it can't break above the resistance, then you'll just see it continue, seeing a downward trend. It bounced a little bit below that previous support at around 72 cents and is now at highs of 80 cents. So I think our group today did very well being able to identify potential. I mean, this stock is down overall 5.7%, but in no way does that mean as a day trader that matters to me. All that means is overall for those that held overnight are down that much. But for those that are day traders that are catching these bounces and cutting losses shorts and locking in profits where they're supposed to be are the ones that are going to end up making the most today with the stock or with multiple stocks. Because we're day traders, you have to understand that just because it's down doesn't mean that it's a bad stock. It just means, as of what I like to do, I like to chase red stocks. And the reason I like to do so is because I can identify support, I can identify the resistance, right, at these bounces and set up a plan on, I'm going to buy at the drop, sell where it was, trading at before. And this margin of profit that it built, that's how I identify potential. And that's how I set up my plan. Once it bounces, I'll cut my losses, anything below that support, and lock in my profits, at the old, support or new resistance. And that's really just it. I locked in a little bit over $204, and it was with a matter of a couple minutes. That's a beautiful thing about it. It was a simple plan. My risk wasn't really there. I was going to cut losses at, less than 1% for FNCX. And I was trading with a little bit over $3,000. And again, this was with my Fidelity account. So with the $1,000 challenge, I did, and I'm currently still only trading mtbc. But I wanted to make sure that it actually had a drop. I wanted to make sure that not only can I participate in this $1,000 challenge, but that I also, in a sense, do myself just a favor and try to stay on track with my own trades, because again, this is a source of income that I use. So going down from what I used to make with over the $25,000 in my Robinhood account without this PDT rule restriction, I wanted to make sure that I don't lose all that money that I was making. Obviously, I'm not going to be trading as actively with that account, but if I can lock in $200, $250 a day with that Fidelity account, and then locking in my 2.33% growth a day with this Robinhood account, then I think that's more than enough. I'm learning, I'm developing myself as a better trader, and then I'm talking about my whole thought process, which I think that a lot of my viewers can actually benefit from. And I want to make sure that I'm not the only one that you guys are listening to or learning from, right? Because there's a lot of comments, and I think it's been a pretty common trend that people now start commenting below, what they did good, what they did bad, and what they learned from it. And I want to make sure that I promote that as much as possible. So feel free to read the comments. If you did something good, if you did something bad, feel free to share it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes as long as you learn from it. And that's truly what's going to lead to your success. Everyone makes mistakes, and it really comes down to you as an investor to overcome those mistakes and overcome any hesitation or those red days, because I know those are very difficult to overcome some days, and make sense of, this is the type of market, this type of business that I'm choosing to invest my time into. But I know in the long run, if you truly identify potential and you truly see this as a potential career, then set up a plan, again, like we do, learn, plan, and execute. You need to make sure that you learn and become the best that you can be, plan to minimize loss, and then execute, build that confidence, and then go ahead and do it. And I think, creating that system and going step by step, being a little bit more systematic is gonna help you guys get a better understanding. There's a AMD just went below $10. I got the alert, and that's actually usually a good trade. So did you see that, Serge?
Yep.
Wow, that dropped really fast. All right, so it looks like AMD is right around like $9.99. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to trade that with my actual Fidelity account, but it looks like everyone is now sharing stuff within the live chat. So everyone's actually having their own conversation. I do want to thank you guys again. We just hit over 12,000 subscribers, and we're a little bit over 13,400 members worldwide. So I can't thank you guys enough. If there's anything that I can do for you guys, feel free to reach out to me. I want to make sure that you guys know emailing me is not the best way to reach out to me, just because I'm slammed with emails. I receive like 50 to 60 emails like a day, and it's really hard for me to keep up with them. The best way to reach out to me is actually through the Technical Solutions group chat or the Facebook platform, and actually just post it on the Facebook platform, because I have people that actually help me out with that. So I want to make sure that your questions get answered as soon as possible. If there's anything in specific that you guys want to tell me, the link is provided for you down below to my Instagram, and then you can actually reach out to me via email within my TechBud Solutions email. But again, the best way, if you want almost a 100% response, then it's going to be within TechBud Solutions group chat. Again, guys, watch out for that video that's going to be uploaded at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time that we have set up today. If you guys didn't watch yesterday's video, that one is live. I'm so sorry that I posted that like at 9 or 10 o'clock last night. And I know for those at Eastern Standard Time, it's not very realistic to watch that video, but I think that video, we talked about reverse stock splits. If you guys ever have any questions about that, or ever wanted to know a little bit more about it, feel free to watch the video. It's my most recent upload besides this one, and I think it's a 5-minute video, very simple, and I think you'll elaborate a little bit more on some things you might not have known, and just my own experience with it. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. Hope you guys locked in some profit. I did want to give a shout out to a couple members within our group. There's a guy that actually, or his name is Sam Lucky Cho, and he locked in a little bit over 32% profit. He's a hilarious guy. He always reaches out to me, and he's like, the only scary part was that Robinhood wouldn't let me sell unless it was rounded up or down to 0.05 cents. You should have, or that I should do a video on that. And he also talked about that his hands got all what's it called, just sweaty, because he was so nervous when he was trading. And that's totally fine. I get that sometimes as well, especially when you're doing really good. Locking over anything over 10% profit, it's amazing. 30% is that's more than your monthly goal, since 2.33% growth for a week times 24 times the month should be, I believe, like 27 or 29%. So just make sure you continue building that cushion so you stay on track for this $1,000 challenge. I can't thank you guys enough. If there's anything that I can do for you guys, know how to reach out to me. If you guys can like and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. And like always, let's make sure we end the week on a green note. Take care, guys.